This is the first time when I have seen Devon Larratt getting tired during a practice and then leave the practice before arm wrestling everyone present there. He had to say sorry to some of the guys who attended the venue but couldn't grip up with him. So Devon just finished his massive tour in Italy, and yesterday he was arm wrestling on the Sardinia island, where they were kicked out of the initial venue because the cops apparently don't think that arm wrestlers or arm wrestling is super cool to do in a public place. They changed the venue and Devon arm wrestled as many people as he can. Then he uploaded a story on his Instagram where he was saying that he got super exhausted because the people who attended the practice were really strong. But we have to keep in mind that this is not peak Devon Larratt. Last weekend, he practiced against everyone in Malaysia. There was an event there, the Southeast Asia qualifier. And then he probably kept arm wrestling after that too. And this weekend, he's arm wrestling everyone in Italy. And that is him in a completely off-season shape. The last time Devon Larratt went completely off-season was when he arm wrestled Chan Shaw. He was only weighing around 235 pounds back then and needed to hold Chan Shaw for like 20 seconds before he could pin him. So the guy is traveling every weekend. I can even say he's traveling every day and arm wrestling as many people as he can, even when he's not in his strongest shape, maybe 70% of his peak shape. Devon also agreed to record this funny training video where they are kinks moving. Devon is also trying to mimic Levan's 180 kilo bicep curl, obviously with a lot less weight than that. Morozov has also commented under that Instagram video, a decent workout program. I wonder, should more YouTubers or more fans ask the arm wrestlers, especially the famous ones, to act in their video? Like, is it ethical? Obviously, the guy wasn't paying Devon or anything like that to do that in a video, but I guess it's a cool experience for the arm wrestler too. They get to polish their acting skills. This is what the Italian club Armsteel posted. On the occasion of the first King of the Table in Italy, we had the immense honor of sharing with Devon Larratt his first time at the table with Team Armsteel. A true legend of world arm wrestling, but above all, a person capable of inspiring respect, passion and mindset in everyone around him. It was not just a training session. It was a moment of sport, experience and connection. Devon pulled with everyone, spoke with everyone, listened to everyone with the simplicity of someone who is truly great. For our team, it was a huge privilege to welcome him, share the table with him, and experience up close the energy of a champion who has shaped the history of this sport. Thank you, Devon, for your time, your advice, your humility, and the strength you shared with us. Same thing, only harder. Our table will always be open for you. We hope to see you again soon. Such a beautiful message. Daniel Prokopchuk was seen doing Devon Larratt's pronation lift, but with only 43 kilos. I would say this is below average weight, especially for a guy who's that strong, who's literally the #1 arm wrestler on the left arm and easily one of the top 5 guys on the right arm too. And that too, he wasn't really doing it with a strictly parallel forearm. But I guess it doesn't really need to be parallel. It needs to be at an angle where you would expect yourself to arm wrestle on the table. Engin Terzi shared a unique style of training your fingers for arm wrestling with a simple tennis ball. You have to focus on squeezing with the fingertip and not pushing with the palm. It can initially feel a little overwhelming because you want to squeeze really hard, you want to push with your palm because your fingers cannot really generate that much of a strength, but that's what's required if you want to get any arm wrestling benefit out of this exercise. Daniel Ustinov shared a practice with Eldar Bubenko with some TikTok style music around it. I'm not sure what he was trying to sell with this video, what he was trying to say with this video, because we didn't really get to see anything. But the caption says that full video will be out soon. At the next East vs West event, Eldar Bubenko will compete against Paul Lin. And I would say if Paul doesn't win that match, then his next logical match will be against Ryan Bowen, because Eldar beat Ryan Bowen too. Tobias Sporong shared a dumbbell rowing video where he's doing 10 reps with 80 kilos. I would say if we just look at the weight alone, it's not super impressive for a guy who weighs 135 kilos for an elite level top roller like him. But the range of motion, the quality of reps is what makes it amazing. Doing 10 reps, 10 such clean reps at 80 kilos is really good. Since Brad Grundy told Ryan that he cannot come to India to arm wrestle him, the match was cancelled. Now Ryan is going to arm wrestle Svetan Gashevsky. It's a big difference in weight. I guess Brad weighs around 110 kilos. Svetan barely weighs 85. But Svetan is a legendary top roller. And I do think this match can be really close. But that is if that match happens. Because there is an ongoing legal dispute and court battles that Ryan is fighting as of now just to stay in India. And the reasoning behind that is he's on a tourist visa, and what he's doing with the Elijah Cup is clearly a commercial setup. Usually people don't really complain about these things. I'm quite sure most of the arm wrestlers that are going to compete at East versus West and stuff like that, they are also on tourist visa. But when you challenge the biggest organization of the country that you are planning on staying in, planning on competing in, then things can get difficult for you. So apparently, as per Guwahati High Court, which is the High Court of Assam, Ryan Bowen has been restricted from competing in any shape or form, or even being a part of his own Elijah Cup, which is going to happen in a few days from now in July. Obviously, Ryan may be doing everything under Chetna's name. They will definitely try to claim as if Chetna is organizing this whole event by herself, but it's not difficult to guess who the real person behind it is. Here's the main point from the article, which I will share in the comment section. And it says that the court observed that if Ryan Bowen is found to be violating the conditions of his visa, the immigration authorities are free to take action, including cancellation of his e-visa. It also notes that the pending court cases does not prevent authorities from taking such action. Yesterday, Michael Todd competed at the AUA Nationals, which is American Unified Arm Wrestling Nationals. It looks like he didn't compete in the 105 kg class because there was someone else who won that class. But Michael did win the supers and the overalls on both left and right arm. That's how he added a few more national titles to his name. On the right arm, this guy did give Michael a good fight. Initially, I was thinking that Michael is just getting some practice in. He wants to get the most out of this tournament. I mean, he literally treats these tournaments as a practice. There is no one on his level there. Because in USA, we don't see the top guys compete in these tournaments. We don't see Todd Hutchings, we don't see Jerry, we don't see even Corey West many times, or even Dave Chaffee. And then Michael uploaded this video. He no longer knows who his next opponent is going to be, and that is a little frustrating for the monster. So after winning the 105 kg title, Michael thought that he will get his promised match against Ivan Matyushenko in Georgia, but it fell through. Ivan declined the offer. He said he's not healthy, he's not fit, he won't be ready for the next event. Then Michael thought that okay, maybe in September in the China event he will get his title shot, but Ivan has said no to that as well. Michael said that he has never waited for his opportunities in his career. He has always been the one who has chased the opportunities, and he doesn't want to waste his valuable arm wrestling career time at 53 years old. So regardless of the uncertainty, he continues training, he continues improving on his weaknesses, which we literally saw after Yannis Omolins taught him some things. Michael has started doing some wrist curls and started working on these exercises with a stricter form and a slightly broken back wrist when he's curling his wrist in. Michael is just weighing 107 kilos, so he can compete in any class he wants. He asked the fans to give some names who he should compete against next. He also gave some names that he thinks are going to be good for the next matches. Number one is Matt Mask. It was originally planned in WL 2019, but the problem is Matt recently lost to Nugo Shikadze, and Nugo Shikadze lost to Petrenko. Petrenko lost to Michael. So does the Matt Mask match make sense or not? Then we know that Nugo versus Krasi is going to happen. If Nugo loses that match too, then the Michael Todd title match doesn't make sense. And Krasi himself said that even if he wins this match, he will not arm wrestle Michael Todd. I think it kind of makes sense because Krasi knows that Michael is a stylistic nightmare for him and he hates the King's move anyways. So if he accepts that match, not only is he going to lose that match, but he's going to be frustrated over it for probably at least 1 year. Then Irakli Zirakashvili is another option, because he recently won impressively against another King's mover, Yoshinobu Kanai. But the problem is Irakli lost to Todd Hutchings 3 times. Michael has already beaten Todd Hutchings, and Todd Hutchings lost to Oleg Petrenko. Michael has beaten him too. So that match also doesn't really make too much sense. Ongarbayev rematch made sense because he beat Michael at 105 kilos, but he said he won't be ready until next year. The fans want to see Michael Todd versus Devin Larratt, but they both have agreed that they won't be competing against each other for some time in the future. If there is absolutely no one else left and they both are done with the super heavyweight category, maybe they will face at 115 kilos. So Michael's priority is to win the 115 kg category and also defend the 105 and 115 kg titles if he wins that one too. He believes that he not only wants to but can also become the guy who has most title defenses. He wants to break David Samushia's record of multiple title defenses. It's kind of weird that Michael is already thinking about it. Not weird, it's good to have such goals, but he has just won his title and he's already thinking about defending it like 10 times. And if nothing else works out, if there are no match opportunities, Michael is ready to face Levan Saginashvili as well. But since he's not weighing too much as of now, I don't really see that match happening. I don't really see that opportunity opening up. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again.